This is Anna Poirier from yogabodynutrition.com, and this video is actually the follow-up to a blog post that I did on my website, yogabodynutrition.com, that was called Finding Real Sweetness. And in the blog post, I started to ask you about your relationship to sugar and how it might be sabotaging your health, but also certain aspects of your life. I also shared a little bit of my story around what I saw evolve in my own sugar addiction and how I transformed that and started to explore ways to come out of that and actually kick that addiction or those cravings and shift those into healthier ways of being. So in this video, what we're going to do is actually explore 5 tips that you can start to take some action around this. So it would be great if you could go back to the blog post, Finding Real Sweetness, and just read that before you watch the video. But you'll get a lot out of this video regardless, where I'm going to be sharing with you some, like, maybe not so common tips that you've heard before. So let's get right into it. Tip number 1 is to start taking risks. And I mean safe risks. Obviously, don't endanger yourself, don't endanger anybody else, but get a little bit edgy. Find ways to create excitement in your life, because very often what happens is you might start to, or I might start to, seek excitement in the form of a sugar high or a food high, right? You've probably had that experience if you really think about it. So what are ways that you can create some excitement in your life? Just like little things to inject. I know for me that's hiking, and taking those hikes that push my edges a little bit, going on little adventures, traveling by myself, and definitely owning my own business. These are all ways that I find inject little bits of safe risk into my life. So what does that look like for you? Tip number 2 is to find comfort. So this is the flip side of the edgy risk-taking. This is like when we need comfort, and I'm sure you've had that experience. You might have had a stressful day, and you might be feeling emotionally stressed because something happened. And it's really easy to go, oh, that food or that cookie or that cake looks really comforting. It would make me feel better. And we might not even go that far. It's just, whoosh, it's there. So you're seeking that comfort. Your body's seeking some kind of balance too to some of that stress. It's very contracted. And here's where, again, you can say, okay, how can I get comfort? A very simple way for me is a delicious warm cup of tea. My favorite is a brand called Tulsi Tea, and they make a sweet red rose, and they have vanilla cream, and they have a lemon ginger. And so depending on your mood and your preferences, you can choose one that works for you. Other ways are to give yourself a little hug. Seriously, take yourself and hug yourself, or ask somebody else to give you a hug. That's comforting. Calling a friend, maybe creating a little bit of indulgence, setting up an opportunity to have a little indulgence, like taking a nap. That can be very comforting. Getting a massage. These are all ways that you can start to inject some comfort into your life. Tip number 3 is somewhat related to tip number 2, and this is give self-love. But I really wanted to give this a category of its own, or a tip of its own, because I think it's important. So give self-love. First of all, what is self-love? That's a question to ask yourself right now. What does that mean? I mentioned giving yourself a hug. Maybe that's a form of self-love. For a lot of women, myself included, this is like an area of huge disconnection. For me, I've really been able to transform this in a lot of ways, and I help my clients do that too. But this is something that I still work with. And so it will be an ongoing journey, but for you right now, what does that mean? How can you start to shift that for yourself? Will really be huge in your relationship with sugar, with food, with any kind of sort of self-sabotaging addiction like that. So, ways to give self-love. I would suggest writing yourself little love letters. I'm totally serious. So how would you like your lover to write to you? How would you like your trusted dear friend to write to you? These are the words that you should be using with yourself. A written letter, you can even just leave yourself little post-its, reminders to yourself to speak to yourself with love, to think loving thoughts. These may sound a little bit corny, but they are very powerful. So tip number 4, and I'm going to have to look at my notes. Tip number 4, yes, is to explore your relationship with sugar or with this food or with bread or pasta, whatever it is. Explore your relationship and ask yourself, what are you getting from it? What is it providing you with? Because it's giving you something. There's a reason that we continue this relationship. Just like any relationship, why is it still in your life? What is it giving you? So get real with yourself. Ask yourself that. Dig deep. Explore. Keep asking yourself the question and be willing to listen to the answer. Once you get the answer of what it's providing you with, then you can move on to tip number 5, which is to find your sweet spot. So finding your sweet spot, you have discovered, what am I getting from this relationship? And then you can start to look at ways that are outside of the realm of food or sugar that are going to provide you with whatever it was that you were getting. So if we look back, if you were getting comfort from sugar or food, there you go. How else can you find comfort? If you were getting stress relief, if you felt happier, okay, so where now do you need to be able to find some happiness to cultivate that so that you don't go back to something that's more destructive and harmful to you? So these are my 5 tips, and I hope you enjoyed them. And these really are just the beginning. There's so much that you can do here, and this is really what I help my clients do when they're uncovering what these sneaky little things are that we do. Why can't you make the changes that you want to make? A lot of times it requires a little bit of detective work, so be willing to do that, and that's what I'm here to do as well. I do this in my private clients, I do this in my group programs. If you read the blog post, Finding Your Sweet Spot, you saw that I was giving away complimentary body transformation breakthrough sessions. Those are taken. Those are all spoken for now, so I don't have those available anymore. However, I am going to be revealing something very exciting right around Valentine's Day. So keep your eyes peeled. It'll be perfect opportunity for some self-love right around Valentine's Day. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thanks for watching. This is Anna Poirier from YogaBodyNutrition.com.